Okay, now that I've come up with my question, which is based on my understanding of the business, I got to figure out the next step. And that next step, as we recall, after I've defined the question, the next step is what data do I need and what data do I have? So let's start brainstorming what kind of data do I need to be able to answer this particular question. Well, I'm going to need some form of variable or variables that give me an indication for sales. So that could be sales dollars, sales quantity, something, maybe the number of transactions that have taken place, because this is not really well defined. It just says, what are the sales? Doesn't matter, it's not very specific, so we might allow it to maybe be a few things in this particular case. So it could be number of transactions, dollars of sales, number of bottles that I sell. It could be a variety of different things. So we've got to come up with some variables around sales. And we want to know what these sales are into each location. So we've got to find a variable for location. Maybe it's an address. Maybe there's another, maybe it's a city name, maybe a town name. Maybe there's something there that kind of differentiates between one location versus another location and the type of sale we want. So we want to go and we've got to evaluate and see what data that I have. I have an understanding about what I need. Now I've got to go in and find out what data do I have. And we should go and look at the data definitions and descriptions for the Vivitor data set. So here I've got the information, you've got this in Canvas, of the Vivitor data set. And so we've got a variety of different data sets within the whole data set. So these are all individual tables. So there's a beginning inventory table, there's an ending inventory table, there's a purchases table, there's a sales table, there is a purchase price table, there's an invoice purchases table, there's a final payroll table, which has a lot of variables in it. And it looks like those are the different tables that we have available to us. And I would imagine there's probably an expense table here somewhere, but it's not in this particular document. So we've got a variety of different tables. And now we've got to find sales, some measure of sales, and some measure of location. So right away, when I'm looking at what's in this beginning inventory file, I can see that there's an inventory ID and there's a store number, right? The client numbers their stores from 1 to 79. Now, this is an old data table old data description. I think they've added more stores and they may be above 80. So we'd have to do a little research into this. So remember, sometimes when you're looking at your company's information, they may not have it all up to date. All right. There may be a city variable where each store is located in a city within the state of Lincoln, right? Brand description. None of these variables really look at anything that we want. What we are looking at here is this store variable could be very important to us when we're trying to figure out what are my sales by location. So maybe this variable store exists in a variety of different tables. It clearly exists in the beginning inventory file. It looks like it also exists in the ending inventory file. Purchases, store also shows up again. So this is assumed to be purchases that we're getting from different vendors. So let's go to the sales table and see what we've got. Store also shows up in that sales table. So this is an important variable for us to be paying attention to. You'll also notice brand description, size of the product, that's bottle size. And then we have two variables that are also going to be interesting to us. Sales quantity, which is the quantity sold on the sales date, and sales dollars. So this is the quantity multiplied by the sales price, again on the sales date. There's other things in here, classification, excise tax, vendor number, vendor name. But for our particular question that we have, which is, what are the sales for each location? I think we have the variables that we need. We have them in our possession. We have store, which is the client that numbers their stores, however they number them, and we've got sales quantity and sales dollars. So we could look at either or both of these two variables. So we've defined what the question was, and now we've gone through the process of figuring out what we need and seeing if we have those particular variables.